It was a quiet September night in 1980 when something inexplicable happened in the rugged wilderness of Wyoming. Imagine this. A young man, Mark, just 22 years old, steps out into the dark at 3:00 a.m., frustrated and angry with his crewmates, and simply vanishes without a trace. His boots are later found miles apart, skeletal remains turn up months later, and questions linger for decades. What really happened to him? Hi everyone. You're listening to Thousand Fragments. The moment no one saw. The memory no one kept. I'm bringing it back. Drop a comment below and let me know where you are today. I'm all ears. And let's begin. The story begins in an isolated part of Wyoming, where Carter Mountain looms over the landscape like a silent sentinel. It's here that Mark worked during the summer months, employed by Seismic International Research, a company specializing in seismic testing for oil and gas deposits. The job required long hours in remote areas, often miles from civilization. Mark lived with his parents in Warland, but spent summers camping under the stars, contributing to projects deep within the wilderness. On September 14th, everything seemed normal. Mark was with his team setting up camp near Pickett Creek, about 20 miles west of Meetitsa. Little did anyone know that this would be the last time they'd see him alive. As dawn broke on September 15th, Mark's absence became apparent. According to reports, he had stormed off into the darkness, wearing only his downcoat, jeans, and boots after an argument with another crew member. At an elevation of 400 feet, surrounded by jagged peaks and dense forests, the decision to walk away alone felt reckless but also strangely deliberate. Snow began falling lightly that night, blanketing the ground and obscuring any potential trail. When morning came, the crew searched frantically, calling his name, scanning the area, but finding nothing. By noon, they alerted the Park County Sheriff's Office, sparking what should have been a massive investigation, but instead turned into one of Wyoming's most baffling mysteries. Sheriff Bill Brewer arrived quickly, coordinating a search and rescue operation involving both local deputies and volunteers. Ground pounders scoured the terrain while horseback riders covered larger areas, their eyes peeled for signs of Mark. Helicopters were even deployed at the company's expense, costing thousands of dollars per hour. Yet despite these efforts, there was no sign of him. 2 days passed, and frustration mounted. The sheriff speculated wildly. Had Mark fled on foot? Was he hiding somewhere nearby, perhaps planning to return home unnoticed? Or worse, had foul play occurred? But then came the twist. Nearly 2 weeks later, a local rancher stumbled upon Mark's boots. 2 separate pairs, each located in different spots, roughly 1.5 miles from the campsite. How could professional search teams miss such obvious clues? Why were the boots so far apart? And why would someone remove their footwear in freezing conditions? These questions sent shockwaves through the community, prompting renewed suspicion toward the remaining crew members. The sheriff called them back in for questioning, administering polygraphs to test their honesty. To everyone's surprise, every single member passed the test. Their stories aligned perfectly. Mark had indeed left camp in anger, never to return. Months dragged on, and hope faded as winter settled over Wyoming. Then, on October 31st, 1981, hunters exploring the area discovered skeletal remains approximately 4.5 miles from the original campsite. Beside the bones lay a checkbook belonging to Mark, confirming the grim discovery. Dental analysis identified the remains as Mark Clevenger, though details surrounding his death remained frustratingly vague. The coroner ruled it exposure, citing hypothermia as the cause. But critics pointed out the absurdity of determining exposure based solely on skeletal remains. Without soft tissue or clear evidence, The official ruling felt suspiciously convenient. Let's rewind to the events leading up to that fateful night. Mark wasn't just some lost hiker who wandered too far. He was in excellent physical condition, described by friends and family as ambitious and driven. A student at Casper College and Northwest Community College, Mark balanced academics with outdoor work, excelling in both realms. That evening, tensions boiled over between him and another crew member, culminating in his abrupt departure. Did he truly storm off into the cold, or was there more to the story? Some suggested drugs might have played a role, hinting at possible intoxication during his final moments. Others dismissed this theory outright, arguing that, even impaired, Mark wouldn't abandon his warm clothing or wander aimlessly into danger. What makes this case particularly haunting is the inconsistency of findings. Professional searchers failed to locate anything significant, yet amateur outdoorsmen, hunters, and ranchers stumbled upon critical evidence months later. This raises uncomfortable questions. How thorough were the initial searches? Were resources allocated effectively, or could something else entirely explain the anomalies? Adding fuel to the fire, the sheriff refused to deploy cadaver dogs during the early stages of the investigation. Families pleaded for their use, believing scent-tracking animals might lead to answers faster, but their requests fell on deaf ears. Instead, the search was abruptly called off after just 2 days, leaving many convinced that Sheriff Brewer either lacked conviction or harbored secrets of his own. Later, psychics hired by Mark's family claimed he drowned in a nearby pond, suggesting water as the final resting place. However, draining the pond yielded no results, further complicating matters. Now, consider the broader context of Wyoming's history. Cases like Mark's aren't unique. Over the years, countless individuals have vanished in similar circumstances, often linked to mysterious phenomena discussed in documentaries like Missing 411. Could supernatural forces, or perhaps extraterrestrial activity, be involved? While skeptics dismiss such notions as fanciful, others point to recurring patterns across disappearances, sudden vanishings, inexplicable distances traveled, and eerie coincidences. Is it possible that Mark's fate intertwined with something beyond human comprehension? Fast forward to modern times, and technology offers tantalizing possibilities. Advances in forensic genealogy and drone imaging allow investigators to revisit old cases with fresh eyes. In recent years, researchers revisited Mark's case, analyzing DNA samples collected from the boots and skeletal remains. Though inconclusive, these tests reignited interest, drawing attention from true crime enthusiasts worldwide. Social media platforms buzzed with theories, ranging from plausible explanations, accidental death or misadventure, to far-fetched ideas, alien abductions, or government cover-ups. Each theory sparked debate, keeping Mark's memory alive decades later. Mark's disappearance isn't merely a cold case. It's a symbol of humanity's struggle to confront the unknown. For every answer uncovered, new questions arise. How does someone vanish so completely in a well-documented era? What drives a person to step into the void, leaving behind loved ones and dreams unfulfilled? And perhaps most unsettlingly, why do authorities sometimes seem reluctant to dig deeper? By November 1980, Mark's family offered a 3-0 reward, hoping to incentivize renewed searches. They reached out to psychic mediums, explored alternative leads, and pleaded for justice. Yet, despite their best efforts, definitive answers eluded them. The skeletal remains provided closure of sorts, but the lack of concrete evidence left gaping holes in the narrative. If Mark died of exposure, why weren't his clothes intact? If foul play occurred, why didn't forensic analysis reveal signs of trauma? Every possibility seemed plausible yet incomplete, creating a maddening paradox. In 2023, advancements in artificial intelligence offer unprecedented opportunities to analyze large data sets related to missing persons cases. Algorithms developed by researchers sift through archived materials, flagging patterns previously overlooked by human eyes. One researcher, Brian Carter, gained prominence when his program identified striking similarities between Mark's case and other unsolved disappearances in the region. Could these incidents represent isolated tragedies or parts of a larger pattern? Meanwhile, public fascination with Mark's story grows stronger than ever. Podcasts, documentaries, and online forums dedicated to exploring his disappearance attract millions of listeners and participants. Among them is a series titled Echoes of the Wilderness, hosted by investigative journalist Linda Hayes. Each episode combines archival footage, expert interviews, and newly uncovered evidence to paint a vivid picture of Mark's world. Listeners become armchair detectives, debating theories ranging from accidental deaths to sinister conspiracies. During one heated discussion forum, a listener named Emily Grant posed a thought-provoking question. What if Mark wasn't the first or the last to experience something extraordinary in those woods? As years pass, additional developments occasionally surface. In 2018, a breakthrough emerged when forensic genealogy techniques identified distant relatives linked to DNA profiles discovered near the crime scene. Investigators raced to interview these individuals, uncovering surprising ties to the area during the late 1970s. While circumstantial, the connections provided tantalizing possibilities worth pursuing. "This could be huge," declared Detective James Peterson during a press conference held amidst heightened tension. Cameras flashed as reporters clamored for answers, underscoring the significance of this development. Yet, despite these advances, fundamental questions remain unanswered. Why did Mark take off his boots before wandering into the snow? How did his body end up so far from the campsite, given the harsh terrain and limited visibility? And perhaps most hauntingly, what role, if any, did the other crew members play in his disappearance? These mysteries weigh heavily on those closest to the case. Detective Peterson finds himself haunted by dreams of shadowy figures whispering riddles he cannot solve. Linda spends sleepless nights running simulations on her computer, searching for patterns others might have missed. Even casual observers feel drawn into the vortex of uncertainty surrounding this infamous tragedy. And so, the legend of Mark Clevenger persists, not merely as a relic of the past, but as a testament to human resilience in the face of incomprehensible evil. For every answer uncovered, new questions arise. For every step forward, obstacles loom large. Yet through it all, one truth remains clear. The quest for understanding transcends generations, binding us together in our shared desire for peace and resolution. Today, we live in an age where technology promises answers once thought impossible. Drones, equipped with thermal imaging, comb rugged landscapes, uncovering clues hidden beneath layers of snow and rock. Forensic anthropologists analyze skeletal remains using cutting-edge methods, reconstructing faces and piecing together timelines. But even with these tools at our disposal, Mark's story lingers in the shadows, defying easy explanation. Do we owe it to him and others like him to keep searching? Or will the truth forever remain shrouded in darkness? So, next time you find yourself walking through nature, take a moment to observe your surroundings. Who knows what secrets lie buried beneath the surface? Remember, while stories like Mark's may terrify us, they also remind us of our capacity to persevere. Because in the end, it isn't the darkness that defines us. It's how we choose to respond to it. And that was another story lost in time. But stay with me, because there's still more waiting in the shadows. What do you think happened to Mark? Let me know in the comments below. Your thoughts matter, and they shape the stories I share next. So go ahead, type it out, and hit send. I'll see you there.